Okay, welcome back to episode 2 of What If the World Was Aggressive? My first two-parter other than my main series, so that's amazing. Anyway, it's just watch the first part if you haven't. That's all there is to it. Last time we were mostly focused on the Middle East and Europe, so we're now going to be moving down here to Africa, where we're going to see that Egypt wants an empire, because they feel like they're strong enough to do it. So their first target is Jordan. So after they real quickly drain the ocean here, so I think this is actually like a very straight coastline in real life. It's like weirdly straight. So after they really quickly just bring back hell here, they take it all over, and now they move into Jordan, which goes about the same. And now they go down to Libya, so not really down yet. And yeah, Libya is not particularly strong. I think there's civil war here. I mean, there's other countries with civil war nearby, but still. So Egypt starts moving along all this coast, and we actually see that surprisingly Tunisia is going to join in on this. I would have thought Italy considers it, but they do not. They eventually decide to not because it's just too far away. They don't want to manage African land. I mean, it's too far away, like it's barely a distance. They do take over Malta, though, so that's great for them. Anyway, I mean, they just slowly move and take the entire coastline. And from there, Egypt starts, like, going out like this. And once Tunisia does a little bit more, we eventually see that Libya is pretty much just gone, so peace kind of has to be made. Egypt is going to be getting their first little bit of land here. And no more straight line here. So that's great. Tunisia will also be getting a nice chunk of this. And Libya will actually be left to live. I don't know how you would say that. Anyway, Egypt's next target is going to be right... Whoa. Their next target is going to be right to their south, being... I almost said Libya again, but it's going to be Sudan. Sudan, as we all know, is in some pretty terrible civil war right now. And so is South Sudan, I believe. So Ethiopia is actually going to get in on this and declare war on them. And now we have this happening as Egypt takes over this coast. Same thing happened with Eritrea and Djibouti. Ethiopia mostly takes care of them, though. Somalia also tries to join in, and then Somaliland happens. And, I mean, it's just kind of a mess, really. And then they die. And then Ethiopia starts moving into South Sudan, start going up the Nile from this way, meeting up with Egypt. And then they just kind of have to take over the south, which is very rebellious and weak, so it's very easy. Soon enough, they are left to nothing. And now, in this peace treaty, we will see that, first of all, Somalia will be gone. Most of it will be given to Ethiopia, finally giving them a coastline. Why doesn't know Ethiopia have I feel like Ethiopia probably should have a coastline in real life. And then Somaliland will... I'm pretty sure they're only this, but we'll give them some extra land here. Because, I mean, war happened. The world is aggressive. Now, if you didn't watch the first video, then just know that the world is very aggressive now. Anyway, they'll also be taking all of Djibouti and most of Eritrea. Although, some of it will be left for Egypt. Just a little sliver here. Anyway, they also get a nice chunk of both Sudan and South Sudan. And they now look all like this. Just like that. It's like a little X down there. It's pretty cool. First four-way meeting point between countries, I believe. Isn't that just so splendid? Anyway, with that, Egypt will be getting the majority of Sudan and the rest of Eritrea and the rest of South Sudan. So Egypt is looking very big here now. However, they have some disputes with Ethiopia over the Nile. I'm pretty sure they still do, like, currently, in real life. So, these guys do not like each other. And soon enough, they're going to go to war. So we have Egypt on one side, Ethiopia on the other. Somaliland also helps out Egypt. Anyway, Libya wants revenge, and these guys want to gang up on Egypt. So now this isn't looking as great for Egypt as they had first hoped. So pretty quickly in the south, we just see them like get cut across. Sudan is very rebel-filled, so not too surprising. Somaliland also gets pushed out to just the very tip of the Horn of Africa. Libya does not start doing that, though, because Egypt does see success there, and they actually get their good old pal Tunisia suddenly to join in on this. However, Algeria sees this as a good opportunity to get Tunisia, so they join on the blue team. Then Morocco sees this as a good opportunity to get back at Algeria, so now Morocco's on the red team. Algeria, though, is very powerful, so pretty quickly, poor Tunisia just getting obliterated. Although Egypt is here to save them, so that's something. Over here, it's a little bit more even out, but Algeria is still the one making progress over in Morocco, even cutting them in two. I mean, this is the vast majority of their population, though, so it doesn't really matter that they're cut in two. But anyway, we see that Kenya and the entire East African Union thing, other than DRC, are joining in on the red team. So while Somalia does get beat up, we do see that these guys actually start to make a nice little pushback here. I think we already have a color, yes. And with that now, they start moving up this formerly Somalian coast. And Egypt is very powerful, and they might be buying weapons from a certain someone. So, they just start pushing back these very weak, underdeveloped countries who really can't do that much against them. They kind of spearhead down here into Chad to cut the blue team in two. It's really just Ethiopia and Algeria, let's be real. Anyway, speaking of Ethiopia, they still are doing pretty decent against Egypt, pushing up here. They push back these guys a little bit, but it does stalemate eventually. They also do capture this little panhandle. But then, up here, Algeria mostly starts focusing in on Morocco, which goes very well, as you can see. However, that does come at the cost of them losing their control over Tunisia. And in other news, this entire North African section is taken by Egypt and Libya, or Egypt and Tunisia. They even take some of this useless Sahara desert for some reason, and make a small push into Algeria over there. Down here, this continues to collapse as everything comes crumbling down on Ethiopia pretty suddenly. You see that all these countries get liberated. I'm not good at speaking, apparently. But yeah, Ethiopia is very mountainous, so this is pretty slow and costly, and the soldiers here are very exhausted. However, over just a long period of time, they eventually just kept getting pushed back and separated and divided, and eventually it's too much and they capitulate. With that, we see now that the red team is able to fully focus in their forces over here, making one massive push across the north of Algeria, and then flooding into Morocco. And from there, it's not looking too good for Algeria, so they get pushed all the way back down to Sahara, and then they surrender. So the red team has won this war. And in this peace treaty, we're going to be seeing that things happen. So first of all, Kenya is going... Well, first of all, we see that East African Union thing is going to happen. So say hello to this big guy. Kind of just looks like Tanzania from Wixo, sorta. And there's like some land down here. These guys will also be getting a nice chunk of Ethiopia / Somalia. this. They really look like Tanzania from Wixo. Somaliland will also continue to get weirdly big. I didn't think I would see a Somaliland empire in one of my videos, but sure. So now they look like that. And as for the rest of Ethiopia, it will be going over to Egypt. I believe Addis Ababa, if that's how you say it, is somewhere in here, so that's great for them. Pretty big city, I believe. I don't know why I'm talking like that. But anyway, over here, we're just going to completely erase this, because there is definitely going to be a new border here, where Egypt continues to control a lot of Africa. A lot of the people here aren't necessarily too unhappy to be... They aren't too unhappy to be under Egypt, because they are a lot more developed, and they might actually be increasing the quality of life there. So that's something good for them. Tunisia also, weirdly, is kind of getting an empire. They get a nice chunk of Algeria, although a lot of it is desert. But they do still get it. And now they get the remainder of Libya. And as for Morocco, they will be getting the rest of northern Algeria, making them literally just a desert. And then they will also be cracking down on Western Sahara over here, so goodbye to that. And, yeah, big Morocco. Now, this is the new map of northern Africa. Obviously, we have a very large country up here. We've seen something pretty interesting happen. So, it's been quite a few decades by this point, since the start of part 1. Caspia is still there. And so, the civil war over here in Yemen has actually been ended, mostly thanks to Saudi Arabia, doing some interesting things to them. But with peace relatively peacefulness here, we're actually going to see the creation of the Arabian Union / the Neo-Caliphate, whatever you would want to call this. They are here. The vast majority of their citizens are Muslim. I don't remember if it's Sunni or Shia, but whichever one of those is the main one in Saudi Arabia. So we now see that they're kind of like three big powers here. You have the Ottomans, the Caliphate, and Egypt. You could say the East African Union too, but I mean not really. Over here in West Africa, we're going to see that Senegal wants an empire for some reason. I guess they're just very angry at the world. And so they go after two countries at once. One is the Gambia, and one is Guinea-Bissau. Yeah, I mean, I wonder who's going to win this versus this. It's literally like an enclave. They literally just like have to walk from side to side, and then it's theirs. And for Guinea-Bissau, it's not that much more difficult. So this new border will be like this. But they are not done yet. Well, we're not done yet, I should say, with this region. Because now Nigeria is going to be getting the same idea. And so they're going to be going after, I want to say this is Benin, and this is Togo. But it could be the other way. But I think this is Benin. Yeah, they could start going after Benin. However, all these surrounding countries know that Nigeria is very powerful. They're going to say, you better stop that. And I mean, there's actually quite a few countries, including even the remnants of Algeria. Still though, like I just said, Nigeria is pretty powerful. So it's actually kind of equal. Anyway, they fully take over Benin and Togo. It doesn't matter which one's which now, because they're both now Nigeria. Surprisingly, this is just because they're focusing like pretty much all their troops down here. Over here we do actually have some pushing from Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, a classic duo. Big counteroffensive is made right here. And now we see an encirclement be made up here in the north. And Nigeria's dreams now come crashing down. This is all gone. And now they start getting pushed from all sides. And then they die. So, in this peace treaty, Oh, you're going to see that Nigeria gets fully divided up by its three neighbors. I mean, technically four because of Egypt, but not them. They do not divide anything. They do not get any piece of it, I should say. So, Benin Empire as well. No fun. Unless it's Togo. And then it's the Togo Empire. Cameroon now looks a lot less fun. It had such a unique shape to it before, but now it's just lame. And Niger takes all of this. And it does not matter if this is Togo or Benin, because now we're combining them. So we're now calling this Togo Benin Empire. I think it's Togo Benin, because you all say, "Can I get something to go?" Or Benin. I don't know. I swear there's something. Togo happens first. I don't know. Anyway, Ghana and Guinea-Bissau go to war. There's an argument here over like what war reparations should be going to here, and they just can't sort it out. So eventually, we have a war breaking out. Little old Burkina Faso is definitely winning though. And we do see that little old Ghana is still doing pretty nice over here. But yeah. There's now a really big encirclement of troops up here. So that's that. And now these guys start getting pushed back. However, they do make a counteroffensive up here. And from there, there's actually the assassination of the leader of Burkina Faso. Wait, no. I think this is Burkina Faso. This is Guinea. But this could be Guinea, and this could be Burkina Faso. I'm pretty sure this is Burkina Faso. But yeah, their leader's gone. And with that, there's a big power vacuum and a ton of anarchy because all of the country starts breaking out into a ton of different people because there's wars of succession and all that jazz. And eventually we see that it just kind of gets weirdly meshed. I don't even know how to describe this. It just gets beat up like this. But Ghana is still here, so they still are here to take some land. They mostly focus in on this green one, but also a little bit into the cyan one. The yellow guy, completely took over the purple one though, with some help from the cyan one. The green team though is pushing into the yellow. Ghana manages to take up the cyan one. Eventually, it is now just left as them and the green one. And so these guys are going to agree to peace. We have Ghana and the new green Burkina Faso. Yeah. And then over here we have a union taking place between these four countries. Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and the other one. I think I forgot one. Whatever that other one is. And that's probably it for West Africa here. Moving down to South, yep. And, yeah. Other than that, though, we do see that South Africa goes on a little bit of an expansion over here into Botswana. However, Botswana, if you didn't know, actually has a pretty good economy. So, they actually start, buying a lot of weapons from, world powers. And that actually starts helping them out by a lot. We even see, for some reason, Madagascar joins in on this war, as well as Comoros. I think that's Comoros. And also these guys. So with that, we now see that there's a pretty big push into South Africa from up here. However, they do have an ally, Namibia. Namibia believes that together they could win this, and then they would get Botswana, and that would be a great boost for their economy. So now they join in, and they start moving over here into Botswana. South Africa continues to get kind of humiliated here. Really, they should be stronger than this, but their military is just having some severe logistical failures. And eventually the two countries get separated. And now Namibia realizes that their military is very weak. Well, remembers that it is, and now they're just desert, so goodbye. And then South Africa is forced to surrender. And so, in this peace treaty, obviously all these countries are getting war reparations and stuff. But we see that this southern chunk... Well, hold on. No. Botswana is going to be probably benefiting the most. They were the first one that got attacked, and they have a lot of money to handle a lot of land. So now they're going to be getting all of this, all of Namibia, and a good chunk of South Africa. They also even unite with Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe just wants to be more successful, and they just think that their strong economy would help with that. Over here, Mozambique will be taking a nice chunk of the southern land, or northern land, technically. And the rest of it is actually split into 3. I believe they have 3 capitals, so, that would kind of make sense. And there we go. Then we see that this northern part breaks away, because it feels too neglected by the government now. And now it invades Malawi, and it wins that war, and it takes them. Yep, that's sure what happens. The lakes are very annoying, but we're just gonna have to leave them. Like, that looks really weird. I just want to show that's one country by, doing this, but then there's no lake, so have to have it. And then that's probably it for Africa, although maybe we'll have one more war. We'll just say that Gabon and Equatorial Guinea go ahead and invade this guy, Republic of the Congo. I don't know why, but they just want more land, I guess, so that is why. And then that happens pretty swell. From there, they continue just pushing in and taking this. The DRC does not do anything, but yeah, eventually they take over it, and then the two of them unite together. There's a lot of unifications in Africa, apparently. And now we have Big Gabon. There's a little hole in the border right here. Last continent we're going to go to is Oceania. By that I also mean, all of this. And actually not too much is happening here. Only thing is that Brunei is going to join Malaysia. I don't know why Brunei exists, but we'll just say it doesn't want to anymore. And then, I don't even know where it is. I think it might be this. But that one country that wants independence gets independence from Papua New Guinea. And then takes over the Solomon Islands for some reason. And that's actually, well, we still haven't looked at the Americas this entire series, so kind of feel like we should. We're going to see a war down here in the Caribbean. That's pretty much all out war. We have, or free-for-all, between the non-tiny countries. So Cuba on one side, Bahamas and Jamaica on different sides, Haiti, and Dominican Republic. These guys do not do anything. And that's Puerto Rico. So Haiti is not doing great right now, so they're going to fall pretty quick. Surprisingly, Jamaica actually helps take over some of them. Surprisingly, they also make a landing on Cuba, and that is definitely because they're being fueled by the U.S., because the U.S. does not like Cuba. So Jamaica is weirdly overpowered. And from there, the Bahamas does, however... Well, actually, no. Bahamas probably also is getting fueled. So rest in peace, Cuba. And that was actually it for that war. And so now, looking at this one, we are going to see that all of Hispaniola is given to Dominican Republic. Jamaica is given a lot of smaller islands, though, as well as all of Cuba. This is one country, so that's great for them. Actually, will probably be split. So we'll say the north goes to the Bahamas and the south goes to Jamaica. It's also kind of the west and east. West Bahamas, east Jamaica. It's not that hard to understand. And the last thing that we see happen is a unification between a lot of these weaker Central American countries. Not all of them, but just some of the weaker ones. I don't think Guatemala's weak, but it's like the big father here. And then Nicaragua invades I think this is Costa Rica. Might be El Salvador, I'm not sure. I think it's Costa Rica. This war does go pretty well, although Panama does also see this as a good opportunity, so they go ahead and steal some of this land from Nicaragua. And the new border is right here. And with that, that is it for now on the map.